up your frozen dinners, grab your TV tray, and settle in for another episode of the Plus Platoon, your podcast for all things Disney Plus, brought to you by Disney Plus fans. Watch along with us every week as we cover all the new, the old, the good, and the bad on Disney Plus. So put down that remote, don't touch that dial, and welcome your fabulous Plus Platoon host.
Hey everyone, my name's Derek and I'm one of the members of the Plus Platoon. We're a Disney Plus fan podcast that gives honest, spoiler-filled reviews of movies and shows on Disney Plus. We look at new releases, coming attractions, and we'll even go back into the vault to revisit some of the classic Disney that's on the platform. Make sure you're subscribed and you'll never miss a moment. I'm gonna bring in Kate. Kate, how's it going this evening?
So good, Derek. How are you?
Doing good. Glad to be here with my platooners.
Yes.
Next, we have, let's bring in Gina. Gina's on screen with us this week. Hey, Gina.
Hi, I'm so excited to be here. I'm so excited to talk about Shang-Chi. I'll talk a little bit about my background when I talk about that movie, and I'm super excited.
Then we have, coming to us direct from the Stumble Home from Food and Wine Boardwalk, it's Peter. Pete,
Yay!
how are you doing this evening? Okay.
I know, look at the
We
beautiful...
are on the Plus Platoon.
Look at the beautiful resort I'm at. Isn't it gorgeous? Look at these
Ooh.
curtains. I mean, ooh.
It's so fancy.
Those are so much better than the curtains at Yacht and Beach Club, I'm telling you.
They are way
So
better,
fancy.
Yeah. And last but certainly not least, we have Sam. Sam, how's it going this evening?
Hey everyone, I am so happy to be here. So happy to see all of your lovely faces, especially having Gina on tonight. And very excited to get back to our Marvel roots. You know, I'm always looking forward to talking Marvel and not some of this other stuff that's on the platform.
Yay! Anyway,
Derek needs a drink right now.
No, Derek has a drink right now.
Oh, good.
Okay.
For anyone who's watching, Derek's not the biggest Marvel fan and of the group, and so he's probably the least Marvel fan of the group.
Well, yeah, but someone has to be. So, okay, Kate, we usually start with Disney Plus news, but you and I did something kind of special this week.
We did. It was, oh my gosh. So that was on what, Friday?
Friday.
Yeah.
It was Disney Plus Day. And Disney Plus decided to blow up their Twitter and Instagram with all of these announcements of different Disney Plus things. So, and it was literally just Derek and I. Pete and Sam and Gina were all in the comments. But we talked for an entire hour about all of the new stuff coming to Disney Plus. So for the last week, actually, I think it was just Saturday. Listen, all days have run together in my head. It's fine. But today, I'm just going to say, if you want to know what's going on right now on Disney Plus, go check out that episode and it will answer all of your questions.
It's a great episode with me and Pete and Gina all kind of heckling in the background.
Yeah, we have our own Statler and Waldorf there.
I actually was at Disneyland. Oops.
Yeah, Gina wasn't there. So, okay. And so, yeah, I mean, and as Ryan says, we're here for show, at least Kate and I are here for show number 3 this week. So, but it's been a fun week.
Thanks for joining, Ryan.
Yeah.
Thanks for being here. Saturday we talked about Jungle Cruise. So if you want to see what our thoughts of Jungle Cruise were, go check that episode out.
And everybody but Sam was wrong.
Right.
No.
And Ciao built.
That's right.
No.
Oh, I didn't love it.
Well,
You didn't love it, Gina? Thank you. Thank you.
Me and Pete were right. You all were wrong.
No.
Can't put my hand around her shoulder, but she was right.
High five. I can't figure it out. It took me a while.
Kate, such amateurs.
I can't.
Yeah. Okay. Now, the reason we were there on Saturday is they also came out with Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, which we're talking about today. So, Pete, I'm going to start with you. What was Marvel-ous about this movie?
Okay, so I admit I saw this in the theaters and I did not rewatch it for Disney Plus for this, but it wasn't that long ago, so I remember the whole movie. There's a lot to love in this movie. I loved all the actors. I thought Simu Liu was great as Shang-Chi. I thought Aquafina is always good. She kind of has she kind of has a role though, and she plays that role. But I liked all the actors and everything, and I really liked the first 2/3 of the movie a lot. I liked the setup and the fights early on. Another thing I very much liked about I'm a big fan of like Hong Kong movies with a lot of kung fu and different things. I liked that like the different groups in the movie had different fighting styles, and how the village of, is it Tao Lo or something like that? I can't remember the name of the village. They had a very more of a I'm trying to think, Tai Chi kind of very like smooth type of fighting, and then the
Ten
Shang-Chi's
Rings.
the 10 rings were much more abrupt type. So there's different styles of fighting throughout the movie, and so there was a lot to like about this movie. I did have some problems with it, but I'll save that for the next round. So we'll go to Sam.
So you guys, I really, really, really enjoyed this movie. I thought it was great characters, fun story, good action scenes. But the thing that I loved most about this is similar to something Pete said, but I'm going to call it the choreography of this movie.
Mm-hmm.
The choreography of this movie was flawless. I mean, we think of choreography when we think of dance, and we don't necessarily think of it as much in fight scenes and in martial arts, but that's exactly what it is. And it was beautiful. I mean, what you're talking about, Pete, with the Tao Lo folks and their style of martial arts was just gorgeous. The scene with the father and the mother when they first meet in that forest, and they're fighting each other. It's a dance. It's like a symphony playing in the background, you feel like, and you're moved by this dance that they're having that's really a fight scene. It was gorgeous, amazing, visually breathtaking. I really liked it. I also really liked the CGI. I don't usually like CGI in a lot of these movies. I tend to think they overuse CGI, but I thought this was really well done. The mystical creatures and stuff that were in Tao Lo, the spoiler alert dragon, and then the bad dark creature too. That's kind of like a dragon, but I don't know what to call him. But anyway, I thought it was really well done and a lot better than some of the other movies. Derek, tell us what you thought. What did you like about it?
Yeah, I really liked the beginning of this movie. I liked the setup for this. I loved that I did not have to know anything from any other Marvel movie. Literally nothing from any other Marvel movie, and I could understand everything that was going on in this show. Having never watched Iron Man 3, the Ben Kingsley appearance surprised me a little bit, and I loved it, but doing a little research, it makes total sense. I loved the scene on the bus with the YouTuber. Yo, I've taken a couple karate classes as a kid, so I'm going to judge this fight. That is such every YouTuber on there ever.
Yes.
That was hilarious. That was so funny.
I loved the soundtrack, especially during the fight scenes. It was driving. It was amazing. I loved Aquafina as the funny sidekick. You're right, she does kind of have a role that she plays. I think any kind of romance that may be coming in the 10 Rings 2 or whatever's coming is going to be rather forced, but I can see it coming. The end, a little elaborate for my taste, but it worked. So there was a lot to like about this movie. Kate?
So I would just like it to be known that if any of you had said, hey, Kate, what do you think Derek is going to say? That is exactly what I would have pegged for him to say.
Okay.
100, like that is exactly what I would have pegged. You all took all of my answers. As a dancer, as someone who is a performer, the fight choreography was breathtaking. Truly just breathtaking. And not just the Tai Chi, the slow moving, even the fast paced, almost, y'all remember Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon? Almost like a little bit of that with that like suspended motion. Just breathtaking. This, and you know what? I'll be really honest. The first 4 minutes of the movie, I was like, oh God, I'm gonna hate this. I'm gonna hate this. This is gonna be awful. Truly thought I was gonna despise it. And then this is probably in my top 5 Marvel movies.
Oh, wow.
I really enjoyed this movie. Between the fight choreography and the music, Derek was totally right. The music was brilliant. The end credit scenes set it up so well.
Good.
So good. The comedy, the mix of just enough comedy. Oh my gosh, Derek nailed it. The guy on the bus who's like, when the people are running by, he's like, "What's up, yo? What's up, you? What's up?" Like,
yeah. And as Ryan says, he was also in Spider-Man Homecoming as a street vendor that told Spider-Man to do a flip.
I did not realize
it's
that.
the same guy.
That's awesome. I did love that I always love when they have those little like cameo nuggets.
Yeah.
Those are always really fun.
So I loved Kate's character, or Katie. I think her character was a wonderful breath of comedic fresh air. Because when you think about the storyline of this, what Shang-Chi and his sister went through, it's really heavy.
Yes.
And she just brought this light and this comedy to a very heavy story. So I 10 out of 10. I thought this was great. So, Gina?
Yay. So I do say ditto on a lot of things. A little bit of my background. I am a trained martial artist. I trained for 20 years in martial arts. And RIP to Brad Allen, who was the choreographer. He actually choreographed a lot of Jackie Chan movies. That's why you'll notice a lot of the quick movements were Jackie Chan. I actually Googled what styles they were doing, and they did use a Shaolin Chinese style. So I was very excited about that because I am trained in Shaolin. So I was like, oh, they're doing some elemental work. So that was really cool to be able to say that. So I really focused on the martial arts of this movie. This was probably one of the best martial arts movies. I always said this is very Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. This was very Drunken Monkey, very Jackie Chan. So I enjoyed that part of it. As a Marvel movie, I was like impressed that it wasn't all superhero, because it had that Asian influence and that it had the Chinese influence, which I love, that more zen, mellow, instead of kill everybody. And it was a beautiful killing rather than the bloody and the guts and all that. So that was it wasn't as violent, because to me, martial arts isn't a violent sport anyway. So that's just a tag on, but basically was the martial arts is my jam. So this really hit home. So that's me.
Awesome.
And Ryan says Sam hit the nail on the head. He told Kate that it seemed like a dance throughout the movie for every fight scene. That's because fighting in movies is dance.
Yes,
it is completely choreographed.
Yeah,
and
he did a great job
again and again and again. And Awkwafina was such a great comedic relief. Love her form of comedy. It's definitely a unique style. She had a very similar comedic style in Ocean's 8 that I saw her in.
I forgot she was in
She
that.
was also the dragon in Raya and the Last
Yes,
Dragon.
same.
Which did not come across as well. I did not think she was well cast in that role.
I liked her.
I like her
comedy.
It was okay.
I like her voice, but
it was
I don't
forgettable.
think. Yeah, I just didn't think that movie was that good. But I think that's more script issue than her. I like her and I like her voice. Yeah,
definitely. Okay, so
and I did want to. I mean, Derek was the only one that mentioned it, but really liked them pulling in the kind of a deep cut, bringing in Ben Kingsley from Iron Man 3, who played the Mandarin in Iron Man 3. And there's
He
actually
named
like
himself after a
orange.
chicken. He named
An
himself after an
orange.
orange, a chicken dish. I mean, come on.
and I know Derek hasn't actually seen that movie, but like he's basically a fake Mandarin in that movie, and they do mention that early on in this movie, but it's funny that he's just being kept there. I don't know, but he was worth the
I
role.
loved him officiating the soccer game in the village. Nope, that's an offsides. And I'm going, what?
Him and Morris were my two favorite characters of the movie.
That was fun. Okay, so this is what was marvelous about the movie. That's the last time I say that one. Gina, what tried to open the gates to release the demons? What was not so great about this?
So I know you all love Awkwafina. I just feel like I don't know where she came from. She had no backstory. Who is this person? I wish that they had developed her more. I was like, and then she has these powers and she can shoot the bow and arrow. Where was her training? What happened? That really threw me out. It took me out of the thing. And I was like, I like some of her comedy, but then I was really thrown by her training in one day, and now she can shoot an arrow, and now she's like this hero, and she gets to be part of the next movie and the next movie and whatever. So that was my number one problem.
That's fair.
Number two problem was it dragged on. That dragon, oh my gosh, that dragon scene dragged on. I was looking at my phone. I'm talking to my husband. I'm looking at Brad Allen going, what else did he choreograph? Because I am BORED with the dragon. And what was the other thing? I think those were the two biggest problems for me. The dragon and the Awkwafina role. I just understand. Anyway, Pete.
I love your play on words, Gina.
I totally agree with you. The big final battle at the end was way too long. One of the things.
Marvel's last battles go forever.
It was very Marvel, but seeing it in the theater, after having really enjoyed the movie as I said before, after having really enjoyed the movie for the first 2/3, I really got like bored with the last third of it, and I wish they had compressed that by about 15-20 minutes, because it went on way too long. The other thing was, like, I know it's the go-to for Marvel, but like, daddy issues again. Really, we got to do daddy issues.
We always have to.
or mommy issues, or both daddy and mommy issues.
In this case, both. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorta.
I just I know, as I said, I know it's the go-to, but like that part. So when I talk about the final third, like when they got to the father's fortress or whatever, that part went on a little too long, and then the final battle went on a little too long. The first 2/3 of the movie, fantastic. I would based on the first 2/3, I would rate it extremely high. The last third of it kind of brought the rating down for me. So what about you?
I was going to say, not only is it Marvel, it's Disney. So you can't have a happy parent-child relationship.
Yeah, I did not like that they killed the mom. Could they just have them be divorced? That was the other thing. I was like, why do you have to kill mom?
Or have her really be alive.
Right.
Or something like that.
I'm glad they didn't do that either, though.
Sam?
But Sam.
So I'm going to have to agree mostly with Gina and Pete, but I have a couple other. I'm not as critical of the length of the fight scene, I think, as Pete is. I think the dragon part went on a little too long, but I wouldn't say 15-20 minutes too long. I'd say maybe 5 or 10 minutes too long in that fight scene. But I did like the big, I do like a big fight scene in a Marvel movie. The other thing that I agree with Gina on, but I'm going to kind of pivot it a little bit also to the sister, is why is Katie the character that now gets to be Shang-Chi's sidekick or second in command or co-superhero when she has no powers and she just trained to, shoot an arrow or do archery one day? Whereas the sister, who's been training martial arts her entire life, why is she not going to be the secondary hero with Shang-Chi? Mm-hmm. To me, that didn't make any sense whatsoever. Why Wong brought the two of them and not the sister along with
Well,
Shang-Chi.
I will say that I did kind of like, though, it's spoilers, but that's what we do here. In the end credits, she ended up taking over
Yes.
Right.
the 10
Yes.
rings, and you see that she brought in a lot of female warriors
Yes.
because she was never allowed to train. So I thought that was kind of cool. And yeah, I agree. I don't know why you're bringing Aquafina along, and
Yeah.
and
I
the
just
whole
don't
thing.
understand.
But Pete, the biggest problem I have with this is, why does Shang-Chi get all 10 rings? Why does his sister not get 5 of them? Right? Why did they not
It's a
each?
match set.
I think
Right.
I think it's a
No,
set. I
it's
don't think
you could split them
You
up.
can split them. Yes.
In the
I
fight
agree.
scene, the father and the son each had 5, and they were fighting each other for a huge part of the fight scene. My opinion is Shang should have gotten 5 of them. Sister should have gotten 5 of them, and then the 2 of them are the superheroes. I'm sorry, Katie, you're hilarious. You're great as the sidekick with no powers, but why you're now a superhero and going to see Doctor
No.
Strange sidekick Wong doesn't make any sense.
She's
And all
not
you did was
she's
shoot
not a
the arrow.
Let me
she's not a
finish.
superhero.
Pete, let me finish, okay?
Mm.
The other thing I didn't like is Kabuki Mask Person. Why did we not find out who Kabuki Mask Person was? Because to me, that person played a pivotal role in the training. I actually thought that was going to be like the mom
The
and
sister. That was going to be the sister.
No, I thought it was going to be the mom, and that the mom wasn't really dead, but that she was like, it was like her body, but her soul was dead, or it was going to be some kind of supernatural type of a thing. But anyway, I was just disappointed that we never found out who was behind that Kabuki mask and the movie, and that person died supposedly, and we still don't know. So that was disappointing to me, because the entire movie I was thinking, like, who's behind that mask? Like, that's got to be somebody important, right? That's got to be like either a new villain, or it was the mom, or it was somebody. But anyway, I digress. Derek, what were your
Go ahead, Pete. Go ahead, Pete.
I did like that the bad guys at the end were like, "Oh crud, we better we better help the good guys because we're in trouble." And you almost never see that. Like the bad guys like keep on fighting even when it doesn't make any sense for them to do so a lot of times in movies. So it's kind of nice to see them go, I think we're going to switch now.
Yeah.
So,
I do like Amy's comment here about the sister. Do we think the sister is going to turn out to be a villain? And I think that that's a possibility.
From what I've seen, she's going to be recruited for the Dark Avengers. She's going to go with Kroger Cap, and she's going to go with fake Black Widows.
Or Sharon?
Yeah. Like the sister is going to go with the Julie Louis-Dreyfus character, that group she's bringing, group she's bringing together. The sister's going to go with her.
Yeah,
that's
that
what
makes
I've
sense.
seen.
So kind of maybe the dark heroes, but we don't know if they're heroes.
Yeah, heroes. So
right.
Okay. My wife and I both looked at each other and we said, okay, it's been an hour and 3 minutes and we're just now finding out what the real plot is. It was halfway through this movie before we figured out what the real plot of this story was, with him going to try and rescue the mom. We're halfway through the movie. That's too much. I love a good setup. I love a good setup. Why that couldn't have happened, why it had to wait that long, it just, at that point I'm going, okay, right before they announced that, I'm going, is this ever going to have a plot? Because it was just family drama background. I also think they missed a chance. If we were ever going to have Awkwafina perform in a Marvel movie, this would have been the Marvel movie. Have her perform in the club. I know the whole yelling the Hotel California lyrics, whatever, but
which made me laugh
that was
out loud, by the way.
Yeah. Although I will say I laughed more when she talked about how she did it rather than when she actually did it.
Yeah.
And Sam, I'll say most of the CGI was okay. There were a couple of times though where it was just, and some of the editing shots, especially the brother-sister fight, that editing was rough. It was just because you could tell there was so much more of the fight that wasn't seen. And the main character actually released, I can't remember what his name is, but he actually released a version of that fight scene that basically the sister kept nailing him in the jewels like multiple times throughout that fight.
Yes.
And it made it actually a better fight just to show that how mad the sister really was at him. So, yeah, I mean, it definitely had some issues. Kate?
So, I actually want to like give this movie a hug because it helped me realize something that has always bothered me, and I've never been able to put my finger on why. I want my villain to be and by villain I mean fight scene to be a person. When we
Yes.
fight a big mythical dragon or dragon, as Regina
Yeah.
sometimes put it, I lose interest.
That's-
It takes me out of the realm of reality, which obviously this isn't reality. The only exception to this is Game of Thrones, which is not Disney, but Game of Thrones, this did not affect me. And a teeny tiny bit Star Wars, it doesn't always affect me. But I don't like
you want to hate a person, not
I want
a
to
thing.
hate a person, and I want there to be good. It's funny because I love fantasy, but that when the dragons came out and it wasn't like this scary person walking out of the where the gate was in like all black and a cape and like some crazy like Thor's sister kind of thing when she came like I wanted that. And then when this dragon came out, which I get it because that was the whole Chinese culture and the mom talks about a dragon, like it makes sense. But as soon as that happened, and it could also be because it drug on.
Mhm.
I was just like, that was the point where I kind of checked out. And at one point, because I was watching this in a break room, and I said, okay, we can be done now. Like, I get it. We're fighting. Oh, now we're not fighting each other. Now we're fighting the big dragon bird things. That was my biggest, like, but other than that, I loved this movie. So that's me.
And I just completely forgot what I was going to say. So,
Sorry.
Amy said, she thought all the fight scenes were too long. They did run a little long.
Agreed.
Even the bus ran a little long. Yeah, so no need to hide under a chair, Amy.
I really liked that bus one. I thought that bus one was appropriate so we could see all his skills.
Yeah. I
didn't drag on.
I didn't think most of them drug on too long. I just thought the dragon one at the end dragged on. Thank you.
Dragged on.
Yeah,
it dragged on.
Or if we're going to go against a mythical creature, have everybody else be human or a superhero.
Yes.
Don't do dragon against dragon.
That was too much. Yeah.
Marvel does well. Ryan says Marvel does well when they have villains that are relatable, like Killmonger and Black Panther, or even Loki. Loki in the original Avenger, you were fighting a person.
Mm-hmm. And even you know what? Even in Age of Ultron, the bad guy in Age of Ultron, the Avengers, and it's the voice
Ultron?
of James Spader.
Ultron.
Is his name Ultron? Okay, yeah. I couldn't remember. Even Ultron, who was a robot, still had a human voice, still had human-like features,
qualities.
Yeah, it's you've gotta be able to keep me a little bit in one foot in reality of like, oh man, because that's why we watch these movies.
Right.
We want to get lost in that there is a hope. There are superheroes out there who are looking out for us that we can believe in, that we can rely in. And that's why we get so drawn into these stories that when you throw a dragon at me, again, totally fits with the story. Dragons. Totally fits. And I love and Gina, I never knew that you did martial arts, so
Yeah.
I'm gonna pick your brain all over the place later.
Yeah.
But totally fits if you're gonna put a dragon or 2 or 5 or 10, I don't know, into a story. This is the one to put it in, but it did take me out of reality. So
Yeah, and that's fair. Okay, as we always do, pixie dust ratings. We do pixie dust ratings out of cups of pixie dust out of 5. As always, Kate, you're up. What you got?
yeah, so I think we're only allowed to do like on the number or a half number, and that's
Yes,
really
correct.
hard because I want to put this somewhere between a 4 and a 4.5. I
Pick
don't,
one.
you know what? I'm gonna put it at a 4 because a 4.5, that's really high for me. I think I've only given The Sandlot a 5. So, and
Yep.
that was solely because of nostalgia for myself as my childhood. I'm gonna give it a 4.
Okay, Gina.
Yeah, I'm also at a 4. I love the martial arts. That put it over the top for me. It was a martial arts movie. The Aquafina thing just dropped it down. It could have been a 5 had she had some training and we could watch some training. I would have given it a 5.
Oh, there was 30 seconds of training.
There was
or like
no
some
training.
special power that she like got imbued on her.
Or some
right?
background or anything. I would have given a 5. Anyway, that's me. Pete.
Yeah, I would have given this probably a 4 about 2/3 of the way through the movie, but as I said, the last third of the movie to me just went on way too long, and so I'm going to give it a 3.5.
Cool. I'm going to give it a 4. I loved this movie. And for me, loving a movie that's not like, this is not like my number 1, I'm going to say, of Marvel movies. But this is definitely up there. I mean, this is not Black Panther, but this is a great movie. So I'm going to say 4. Derek?
Okay. I'm going to give it a 3, which for me,
That's a great
because
rating.
to me it was better than Black Widow and the Avengers, but not as good as Ant-Man. So, and so that puts it right at a 3 for me. And Kate, you're muted if you're trying to interrupt me.
No, I was just to say what you said it was. Say that one more time.
To me, it's a 3.
Okay.
To me, it was better than Avengers and Black Widow, but not as good as Ant-Man. So,
okay.
And to me, a 3. If it's anything but about that middle 45 minutes, I will. If it's on and like if my wife's wanting to watch this again, I'll sit down and watch it with her.
Yeah.
So, it to me, not a bad Marvel movie.
No.
Yeah.
So, okay. The other thing we watched this week was Olaf Presents.
Yay.
Olaf doing 2 to 3 minute snippets of, I want to say, the classic Disney animation movies. It's Little Mermaid, Aladdin, Lion King,
Moana.
Moana and
Tangled.
Yeah.
Okay, so it was those 5. So, Sam, overall thoughts. Okay, what'd you think?
This was hilarious. As Derek said, this was Olaf doing multiple little, I'll call them one-man shows, although they weren't one-man shows. Most of them involved either Sven or the snow monster guy from Frozen. So he had a non-speaking castmate in most of these renditions, but it was just hilarious. I mean, it's him like kind of dressing up, being, various characters. I thought the Moana one, it was hilarious where he sings, "You already know this, but I am Moana," or "You already know my name." It was just so funny because it just made fun of these wonderful Disney movies in the best but smartest way. It's, you don't think of Olaf necessarily as being the smart character, but the comedy was
He's
so
a funny
smart.
character.
Yeah, well, and the comedy was so smart. It was so on the nose, as we like to say, right? So anyway, I thought it was super enjoyable. I'm not sure I'd watch it again, or over and over again kind of a thing. It's probably not something that I will, repeatedly watch. I would watch them again maybe once, but I did think it was really hilarious. Not as good as Doug Days. I'm going to say that. That would be my caveat. Doug Days was like phenomenal, and this was great, but Doug Days beats it. Derek?
To me, Doug Days was hit and miss. This was amazing. Unlike you, I have watched these 4 or 5 times just because I love these. I want more. Josh Gad, if you're listening to me, I want more of these. So, yeah.
Josh Gad is just raking in the Disney bucks, by the way.
Yep.
Yes, he is.
That he
Because
is.
this was actually his idea.
Oh,
The-
so great.
And there were people on Facebook that said, hey, or YouTube or somewhere that said, hey, we want more of these. And he said, yeah, let's do more of these. And Disney said, okay. So,
Good.
Kate.
Single-handedly one of the funniest things on Disney Plus.
Agreed.
I
Totally
couldn't
agree.
watch it just once. I had to go back and watch it because the one-liners in it are so funny. Like when he's like, Mufasa died. Except he didn't really die. He got trampled by some very rude wildebeests. And then he still didn't die. Like, or when he's King Triton and he's like, I hate all your human stuff. Like, just the one-liners. And what makes it so funny is I feel like if somebody gave me one too many margaritas and then said, Kate, tell me about the Lion King. That is what would happen. Is that like that's and that kind of humor, I mean, I would stop laughing and I would have to go back and rewatch because I was laughing and I missed a bunch of one-liners. Literally, Ryan just said, Papa, help. I'm an
emaciated shrimp.
And then,
and
so
I started
good.
laughing just because I rember that scene.
yes. But then calls back to that when she's like, Papa's an emaciated shrimp. Like, or when she's like, I've got 20 thingamajigs. What do I call it? Dinglehopper. Oh my God. It's so. Or like, oh,
Where are my
Ryan,
parents?
I texted
Parents
you
are
another one that was
dead.
something like, oh, take me out of this tower, you ruffian, or something. I can't remember the exact words.
Smolder. What about the
Smolder.
smolder?
Yeah.
Oh my God. And just so good. So funny. Go ahead, Gina.
Yeah, I agree, ditto. I actually agree with Ryan on this. Loved it way more than I thought.
Yes, agreed.
Watched the Little Mermaid one. Again, the Little Mermaid one was a standout for me also. That Little Mermaid one, I watched like 3 times. It was just so funny. Little Mermaid was one of my favorite movies anyway, so just that was awesome. So just ditto to everything. I agree. Pete, what about you?
Yeah, I have nothing to add. It was hilarious. Perfect. And by being that short, it made it all the more funny. Like if they tried to make them longer, I don't think it would have been as funny. So the fact that they made each one only like 2.5, 3 minutes, it was perfect. Since everybody else already talked about it, I want to say we had like 2,000 announcements from Disney Plus. Whatever happened to the Josh Gad and Gaston, I forget that actor's name, prequel that is supposedly in the works at Disney Plus?
It was never mentioned. It was never mentioned.
So, because
there's a Gaston sequel series in theory coming to.
It's a prequel, I believe.
Prequel, yeah.
A prequel with Gaston and LeFou.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'll bring that up because I don't have anything more to add that everybody else had. It was hilarious. I would watch it again. I'm probably more with Sam that I don't know that I'd watch it over and over, but it's definitely worth. I mean, you can watch the whole thing in 15 minutes, including the original one from the
episodes. Episode 6 is literally the original from Frozen 2 and all 5 of them put together. So
the only thing I missed from the new ones in the Frozen 2 clip, they had like the reaction from the crowd, and I kind of would have liked to have seen a little bit of that in the Olaf Presents ones. Just see, Anna and Elsa going, oh. But no, great.
I do want to say that my favorite, because we haven't talked about the Aladdin one at all, and one of my favorite quotes from the Aladdin was, "Ha! Joke's on you. Now you have to live in a pot forever." I was laughing so hard that I had to go back and rewatch because
Itty bitty living space.
And the fact that they went back and in Aladdin, when he does the whole made you look at the very end, he did that at the end of the credits. It was so great.
That was so great.
Okay, so now we've had all these great ones. Pete, what do you want to see him do next? What should Josh Gad do as Olaf next? Give me one.
Toy Story.
That'd be great.
Okay.
I was thinking Toy Story as well, but I'm going to go with my favorite Pixar movie, which is Ratatouille.
Ooh,
I'm not sure how they do it,
really,
but Ratatouille.
Okay.
They could do a little snowman.
Yeah. Well, I'm thinking that Olaf is going to have to be like on top of Sven pulling his hair or something.
Oh, and see, for me, I'm going way back. I want to see him do Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs.
That'd be
With
funny.
all the different dwarfs.
Yeah.
You've got the mirror, you've got the Wicked Queen changing, or Bambi with Thumper and Flower, and those characters. So
Yeah.
I'm going way back, but to me, that's what I'd like to see him do. Kate, what about you?
Yeah, well, I was gonna say Toy Story because trying to see Olaf be Sid, I think might be one of the but that was already taken. So I'm stuck between two. Either The Incredible, if we're going Pixar, The Incredibles. If we're going old school, I'd love to see him do either Pinocchio or Alice in Wonderland.
Oh, Alice would be awesome.
Oh, that would be
Alice
good.
funny.
Alice would be
Because
awesome.
they are so bonkers. I would
Mhm.
rather see Olaf do Pinocchio than the live action.
Oh
Yes.
yeah, that
Yes.
live action. Remember how we say we do the good and the bad? I'm not sure where that live action's gonna fall.
Those tiny snowmen got me, so I was thinking I would love him to do 101 Dalmatians and do the voice for Cruella. Because that Ursula voice for Cruella, I would die. So that's
I love
mine.
that. I love Ryan's two suggestions.
Yeah. Big Hero 6. Yeah, I could see him do that. But Finding Nemo would be hilarious.
awesome.
Him
Oh
as
my
Dory.
God, that'd be so
Yes.
Him as Dory would be just fantastic.
Oh
And and the Austins loved Olaf Presents as well. So
Awesome.
now,
So great.
several of you mentioned Toy Story. It just so happens next week we are diving way back into the Pixar vault to do Toy Story, the original Toy Story, the Pixar premiere. And now this is the big announcement you guys have all been waiting for. We're going to do Toy Story trivia. There will be a round of trivia. Those of you who remember Mouse Quiz, we're going to do a round of Toy Story trivia on this program. So invite all your friends, bring them all back. We're going to do Toy Story trivia on next week's round. And Ryan's very excited about it. So yeah, we are Toy Story from the Vault trivia. And if everyone likes it enough, our Vault shows may now begin to include trivia. Every one. So yeah, and Steve loves the trivia. Ryan, you did say, what's a pixie dust rating for Olaf Presents? Typically for these short series, we don't typically do a pixie dust rating. So that's why we haven't mentioned anything. So
I'm a 4.
Okay. I'm like
a 4.5, I think.
I'm a 4.5.
Yeah.
Yeah, ish. Yeah. So
Yep.
Okay.
I'm a 9.
Not a 9, a 4.5.
Yeah. So I said, guys, if you have others, yeah, Kate, that doesn't work. So, guys, if you have suggestions on stuff, because in the middle of Hawkeye, in the middle of Boba Fett, we may need something to break up the monotony and, save me from these two ladies next and below me. So, if you have suggestions, email us at plusplatoon@gmail.com. I know we're going to throw Enchanted in there somewhere. So,
you guys have so much fun next week. I just have to say, because I will not be on the show. I will be on Disney Cruise Line over Thanksgiving, and so I will not be with you all. But the DCL duo will be putting out episodes about our cruise.
Wait, so they don't have good Wi-Fi on the cruise?
That is,
you get cell service. Go to Bermuda and you'll get cell service. Yeah,
so
I know.
have to say, this is the one thing we always joke about on our show on DCL Duo is that Disney Cruise Line literally has the worst internet, like of all the cruise lines ever. So yeah, so we won't be doing anything live, but we will have a lot of content coming out.
But yeah, we are on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram. Tell your friends. I want to see the Crushers and the Geeks and everybody on here next week. Guys, you get me enough, I'll upgrade the service so everyone can play the trivia. I can first 20 that sign up, I know, but if there's enough demand, we'll up the service. So spread the news, get your friends to like it, and we will see everyone next week for Toy Story. So good night, everyone.
Bye.
Night.
Howdy, howdy, howdy.
Thanks for watching this week's episode of the Plus Platoon. Be sure to subscribe to the Plus Platoon podcast to keep getting great content each week. Then head over to Apple Podcast and leave those 5-star reviews as they help make the Plus Platoon visible to even more Disney Plus fans. Also, go to YouTube and like and subscribe to the Plus Platoon channel, where you can watch all future episodes live. If you have a question for the Plus Platoon, please send us an email to plusplatoon@gmail.com or connect with us on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram @plusplatoon.
The Plus Platoon is a Disney Plus fan podcast and is not affiliated with the Walt Disney Company or the Disney Plus streaming service. All opinions expressed on the show are solely those of the individual hosts and in no way reflect the views of the Walt Disney Company.
Thanks for watching, and be sure to stay tuned for next week's episode because the Plus Platoon is to be continued.